I got a quick one in case anyone wants to hijack. So as you can see, I have the My Documents page. I'm logged in, just to clarify, as an embed user. I have an SSO embed URL in this iframe, and I want to go in and explore. So I'm going to press the New button. And now I'm going to get to a workbook. And then I'm going to go and make a status table. And I'm going to make a dash. I'm going to, in this case, look at my chart and say, oh, I want this to be this way. And I'm going to press the dashboard button. Save this guy right here. Bar. Oh, it's not a bar, but whatever. I create my dashboard. I'm still embedded in that iframe. I'm going to switch to view mode. That looks great. And then I'm going to go get lunch or something like that. I'm going to come back later. Oh, hey, my chart's still there. Yeah, so embed content creation, personal content creation is nearing completion. The last step is a lot of the UI Chrome that you saw. Specifically getting the header back in and limiting it to just reasonable options because we don't allow everything embed, specifically, notably scheduling. So that's kind of where that's at. Yeah. And as a next step, we definitely want to get into a world where this is more than just the personal page. More specifically, we'd love to get sharing between users. Worked on next, and I think luckily because of a lot of the work that Luke was able to put in to get our embed users into the existing content permission system, um, we should be able to keep these guys in the same guardrails as regular users and not have to worry about inventing new constructs or anything like that. So yeah, that's the embed update.
Just to that last point, I was going to sort of ask, is is there one permission system? Like, does it diverge at all? Like, what is our sort of thought process around that kind of stuff?
It is Luke can speak to this further, but it is basically just the existing content permission system that we have for regular users. So embed users come in. For now, we're only granting them viewer if you're looking at another dashboard. But when they create their own stuff, they're going to be owners of that. So they can do whatever they'd like with that content and share it with whoever they like. That being said, they can't share it with whoever they like now just because sharing across embed users isn't a thing yet. But that's the plan. So.
Yeah, it is at this point basically just our content, not just, but it's our content system. The thing it's bumping into is the same thing we've seen a little bit from our let's call it faux white label customers of hey, I want to create a sub boundary inside my tenancy. I think we actually have an idea of how to do it that is not terrible. Probably it's good enough for quite a while. There's a
Strong
longer
endorsement.
well, it's people are going to find the edges of it, but I think they'll actually be fine. And I think the right answer is actually build this box and then give them some APIs and be that's as far as we're going for a year. Because true multi-tenancy inside of tenant is a way bigger project that I don't know we fully understand what we want to do with it. And by that I mean we're not sure what the right answer is. But I think the thing we figured out will actually solve really nicely for both embed stories and for the blue charm faux white label. I wish we wouldn't call it white label. I don't know what we call it, but because it has nothing to do with white label. But anyway, that I want these subgroups, and I think the way Elliot and I have talked about doing it, we'll be able to leverage that same technique for the internal use cases that want to kind of box in users. So yeah.
Is the idea to use the concept of a user who doesn't default get content permission access?
So that's already there. The key is that we need to know, well, so the embed has the Elliot, fix me if I'm wrong, external entity.
Something. Yeah, embed entity, which is
embed entity. We want to surface that up into actually the user attribute system as well to basically say hey, there's this thing that says they're in this subgroup, this sub entity. Only show them other users who are also in the sub entity anywhere they can pick users. That solves the problem pretty well. And then the content permission side is actually pretty easy. Give them all access to a folder. Only let them share with that user group. That anybody in that entity gets access to that folder. Turns out that works fine. They're going to notice the lack of subfolders. We'll have to go do that. We know that. So there's some things that are already on roadmap, but I think it actually works pretty well and isn't a super crazy idea. The other thing that's really nice is ties into user attributes, and like the investments we're making there for other reasons, we get to leverage into other parts of the product. So I think it answers the question right of like Chris's skim stuff. It works well with Chris's skim stuff. I think the gap is we don't have a content API, and so there's going to be like people who want to scale this up that we're going to be like, okay, yeah, that's annoying. So we'll have to go with a content API. But these are all problems we knew we had. So I think it dovetails pretty elegantly long term.
So it sounds very familiar to Looker's closed folder system.
Yeah, but we don't have to. Not everybody has to be closed. Is the beauty of it. I think that's the key difference. But yeah, it's not significantly different. I mean, I think it's. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing.